Yes. So I'm Letizia Cinganotto. I teach language teaching at University for Foreigners in Perugia, which is in Umbria, just in the heart, in the middle of Italy. But I've been, well, in this university, I'm also extra delegate for international relations. So I travel a lot. I travel the world to spread the mission of our university all over the world. And I used to be former senior researcher at Indire, which is the National Research Institute of the Italian Ministry of Education. And I also worked at the Ministry of Education just during the time where the reform on CLIL was issued in Italy. So that was the time that, I mean, the real revolution about CLIL in Italy started, because as you probably know, in Italy, CLIL is compulsory in upper secondary school. And so let's say that since then, I was involved in CLIL at ministerial level, so just cooperating at the language policies of Italian ministry. Since then, I brought with me this passion about CLIL, of course, not only in terms of language policies, but also in terms of research and teaching. That was what I do now in my university. I work a lot at international level because I'm part of the consultancy team of the ESML project Plural Literacies Teaching for Deeper Learning, which is actually CLIL and beyond. And it's a model that's promoted by the European Center of Modern Languages, which is the institution of the Council of Europe working on languages, on plurilingualism, on CLIL, and so I'm involved in different working groups and committees also at international level. So I'm really passionate about CLIL. I'm so privileged to have this opportunity, and of course your project is part of this wonderful international overview, and so congratulations on your project. CLIL is real a trigger for innovation and for plurilingualism, and it's got so many such a great potential, because of course doing this combination, so trying to combine the language and the content, so also from this plurilingual perspective, because we consider CLIL as a trigger for plurilingualism. So this combination is very effective. First of all, because we can have a higher level of exposure to the input in the foreign language for our students, just adding the content, of course. And also because CLIL is really linked to innovation, is linked to the real active and interactive role of our students and as protagonists. So it's student-centered, and so it really gives the idea of practical activities, of hands-on activities, such as in laboratories or some other practical things, and it's just what we need for our students studying a foreign language, to give them the idea that the language is not only a subject, let's say, to be learned, to be studied, to get a mark, to get a grade, but it's a tool for communicating, a tool for living, let's say, a tool for negotiating and co-constructing content, and is an authentic tool to communicate about something which is close to their life, to their context, and it's meaningful. So that's what we need to do in our classes, to facilitate activities like, yes, experiments, or maybe using images, using technologies, and having the idea that they are really doing something meaningful, something authentic, and something that can be useful for them to communicate, for example, with their peers. And so Erasmus projects like yours, of course, are wonderful examples of CLIL, because CLIL is gives the students and teachers, in the case of Erasmus projects, the opportunity to use the language to communicate and also to work together on cooperative tasks, cooperative projects, and so doing authentic things, communicating for authentic authentic goals. And at primary school, it's even more meaningful and more relevant, because in primary school, of course, as we know, the sooner the better. But also in primary school, we have this, let's say, natural environment where the primary school teacher is expert in all the subjects and in the foreign language as well. At least that's what's happened in Italy. In Italy, we have the primary school teacher who teaches all the subjects, or some, it depends on the organization, including English. So it's just a natural environment, because everything can be really liquid, let's say. So just moving from one language into another, and having the children do experiment, do real tasks, and construct objects. We call them realia, or work on authentic project, for example, linked to Agenda 2030, so linked to the situation of their territory, for example, and something that I can do really naturally, both in English and in Italian, because it's the teacher, the primary school teacher, that can lead this sort of very interactive and dynamic learning environment, where CLIL is really the natural setting. So in primary school is really wonderful to have CLIL. That's why the sooner the better. So I would like to add something about art and music, which are the specific subjects of your project. And once again, I congratulate on the choice of this subject, because especially in primary school, of course, CLIL can be effective in any subject. So when we talk about science, for example, when we talk about, especially because we can work in any school grade, but particularly in primary school, we can work. We can have very effective CLIL pathways, for example, in civics. So CLIL can be effective for any subject. But in particular, in primary school, art and music are the subjects that can really give the students, our children, the opportunity to express themselves in a creative way, and also to play a lot, to have fun, because we know that at that target level, we need to adopt learning by playing, learning by doing approaches, and also using songs, using rhymes, action rhymes, and making them create artful artifacts and objects and whatever, using images, using paintings and whatever. So it's really these two subjects are really in general a great opportunity to combine the language with the subject, let's say as in CLIL, because they are really close to their target age, to their needs, to their creativity, and it's really a good way to have them fun, engage, and at the same time associate this positive feelings of enthusiasm, of pleasure. Because what's important, especially in this target level, is to have them the passion, to trigger the passion and the positive emotions. So we talk a lot about social emotional learning now. So the fact that we need to have our students, first of all, interact, so the social dimension, but also positive emotions, positive feelings. So when they have fun, when like with this subjects, like in art and music, they have fun, they can play, they can sing. So it all together. So the social emotional dimension is at stake, and they will remember this. It will be associated to positive feelings, positive emotions in their memories, also for their future approach and attitudes to the learning in general, and in particular to the language learning, so to English, to CLIL. So it's really great to have them work in CLIL on these two subjects for primary school children. In terms of challenges, of course, it's everything stems from the teacher's, let's say, growth mindset. So that's what we always say. Also, we always tell our teachers in Italy. Unfortunately, for example, we don't have extra money for CLIL teachers, and not provided in Italy. It's extra effort, but unfortunately no extra money. But anyway, we have a lot of success because it's the teachers, growth mindset, and just they are illuminated. They are just so willing to experiment, because it's rewarding. The enthusiasm and the students' reactions is rewarding. But I may say that the main challenges are related to partly to teacher training, because you need to be trained. You need to have, of course, the level of English or other languages. But at the same time, also methodology, because as you could see in your project as well, doing CLIL is not, of course, translating. It doesn't mean translate words or sentences or whatever, but it's an entire methodology, an entire way of teaching, and you need to embrace, let's say, this innovation in terms of subject teaching. So this is something that is a sort of switch in this perception of teaching style, and of course it takes a little bit of time, because especially for subject teachers, and as CLIL methodology has this peculiar strategies which are interactive, dynamic, and student-centered, and so on, reshaping the way of doing, let's say, top-down lessons, which is not a part of CLIL. So this training takes time, and sometimes in Italy, for example, there were some courses funded by the Ministry of Education. Now there are some more funds coming from the Ministry of Education. So and the enthusiasm is much. So I may say that it's just the challenges are related to the opportunities to be trained, because once, especially because in Italy, as I was saying, it's compulsory, and so the teacher training initiatives should be so many to cover all the different demands, or the different needs. And the final recommendation is just, to never give up, even if there may be, some challenging moments, and there may be problems, of course, but never give up. And so try to embrace clearly with positive attitudes and approach. And one recommendation that I may give teachers is to join communities of practice, because communities of practice are a good way to get out of isolation. It's just to share ideas and practices, but at the same time also challenges and problems that can be solved together, for example. So you can have some problems, and you can find maybe some sort of suggestions from a teacher, from a colleague who experienced the same problems and somehow has overcome it. So